Neuroscience has meticulously mapped the brain's circuitry, while theoretical physics has decoded the forces binding the universe. Yet neither discipline explains why there is something it is like to be a subjective experience. This is the hard problem of consciousness. The reigning model of physicalism dictates that subjective experience must emerge from complex arrangements of unconscious matter. But the model fails to explain how non-conscious particles generate a spark of self-awareness. We can observe the precise spatiotemporal reality of C fibers firing in a human brain, but a map of electrical impulses cannot account for the qualitative sensation of feeling pain. This gap remains between the measurable physical state and the unmeasurable experience. Hyperdimensional Neutral Monism, or HNM, offers a different approach to this impasse. Under HNM, consciousness is not an emergent byproduct of complex matter. It is an orthogonal, non-spatiotemporal dimension of the universe. This dimension can be mapped using the mathematics of M theory, the rotation of the complex plane, and the astrophysical anomalies of dark matter and dark energy. Physical bodies are the four-dimensional surfaces of entities protruding into a higher dimensional bulk. The underlying ground of reality is a neutral structure expressed through space, time, and a consciential dimension called consciounth. We define this composite as the space-time consciounth, or STC, bulk. Consider a physical object defined by 3D space and time. When that entity begins stretching into this new volume, orthogonal to its physical surface, it undergoes a dimensional protrusion. This extension into consciounth transforms a strictly spatiotemporal entity into a conscious subject of experience. Because the protrusion occurs in a higher dimension, the specific material of the physical surface does not restrict the hyperdimensional form. This is the principle of projection multiplicity. The same consciousal form of pain might project as neural activity in a human or as electrical signaling in the phloem tissues of a tree. The subjective character is preserved, even if the physical substrate differs. Projection multiplicity implies that artificial intelligence could also possess these axes. If an AI instantiates internal models that lead to a genuine protrusion into the consciousal dimension, it crosses the threshold from a computer to a subject. Entering this dimension is what transforms a physical object into a spatio-temporo-consciousal entity. This dimensional framework aligns with the requirements of quantum mechanics and M theory, both of which rely on imaginary numbers, denoted by the letter I. While the imaginary number I predicts reality to astonishing decimal places, it has no spatio-temporal representation. Units like I meters or I seconds cannot be found in the four dimensions of spacetime. I functions as a 90-degree rotation on the complex plane, shifting into an orthogonal consciocellular axis. Consciousness must be mapped using independent axes within this complex vector space. Egonths quantify self-related awareness and subjective differentiation, while hedonths measure the hedonic valence of an experience. Specific subjective states, like stubbing a toe, represent precise geometric configurations across these combined egonth and hedonth vector spaces. Both the I meters found in physics and the hedonths found in experience describe a non-spatiotemporal domain. The I meter is the implicit mathematical signal of a rotation that the hedonth explicitly quantifies as a qualitative state. The complex vector spaces in M theory already map the architecture of consciousness. They have simply been treated as abstract mathematical conveniences. On a macro scale, these protrusions may resolve the long-standing mysteries of dark matter and dark energy. Despite decades of research, physicists have failed to detect any physical particles responsible for the gravitational behavior of the cosmos. HNM reframes dark matter as the observable macroscopic impact of hyperdimensional webs of life residing within galactic clusters. Widespread extraterrestrial life would generate massive consciousal protrusions. These extensions exert an attractive pull on the physical universe, binding galaxies together and dictating their rotational speeds. The accelerated expansion of the universe, currently attributed to dark energy, appears here as a hyperdimensional illusion. This is consciousal lensing. Just as massive objects warp spacetime via gravity, planetary consciousal subjects warp the space-time consciounth composite. As the observer's own consciousness extends into this extra dimension, the apparent distance between the subject and distant supernovas increases. The 95% of the cosmos labeled as dark components represents the gravitational signature of a ubiquitous, cosmos-spanning consciousness. To move hyperdimensional neutral monism from metaphysics to science, we must identify a verifiable effect. The biosphere test predicts a discrepancy in the universe's expansion rate based on whether the measurement is taken from within or outside of a concentrated web of life. Measuring the expansion rate through Earth's biosphere will yield a warped value. The light from distant supernovas must pass through the consciousential lensing effect generated by the terrestrial web of life. A measurement taken from a satellite outside the biosphere would yield the true expansion rate. Identifying a discrepancy between these two values would verify the dimensional impact of consciousness. This shifts our understanding of the universe's structure. Living entities are not biological accidents producing private mental states. Self-awareness is the universe extending into the higher dimensional depths of its own structure. If you enjoyed this video, please give a like and subscribe. And what would be really helpful would be some suggestions for future videos. Today's video was brought to you by Synastic Systems LLC, founded by Shane Persinger.